Just saw mother walk into a classroom with a handheld radiation meter and proceed to tell the teacher that little Billy needs to sit in the back corner of the classroom because of the toxic school Wi-Fi radiation. What other batshit things have you heard of that these helicopter moms do? My dad figured out exactly how long it took to walk home from school, as in literally walked it himself, and then gave me exactly that long to get home every day. If I was more than 5 minutes late I got a beating for fricking around. Then they got mad that I had no friends, and after a protracted argument and fight I got an extra 15 minutes to make friends after school. That winter, I got in a snowball fight and was having fun and didn't realize I'd gone a little too long. So dear old dad drove to my school and started wandering around, bellowing my name until he found me. That was a blast. I believe this is the year after he stood in front of my entire class and told them to start being nice to me. I'm so glad I changed schools every year. I went to a school where helicopter moms were completely normal. So many stories, but here's a more extreme one. When I was 7, I met my friend Sarah. Despite meeting my parents multiple times, Sarah's mother showed up the day before Sarah was supposed to come over to interview and inspect my parents and their home, to make sure it was safe for Sarah to come over, and gave my parents instructions on how to make our house safe for Sarah. She'd also just randomly show up for some playdates and stay the entire time, watching us play in my house. Her mother came to school one day and pulled me out of class to tell me to stop giving Sarah money for the milk vending machine because the hormones in milk will kill her. And do you want to do that to Sarah? We had school from 8:30 to 3:30, and then after school stuff until 5:30, and Sarah would only have lunch and one snack, usually fruit. They also managed her meals by making them up and laying them out in the fridge. Breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner. Cupboards were not to be touched, ever. When we were in high school, age 14-17, Sarah wasn't allowed to leave school property for any reason. We used to go out for lunch and had to leave her behind, no cafe in the school. Despite only living about 2 blocks from the school in a really nice area, she'd have to wait until her mother got off work to pick her up, sometimes not until 6 p.m. She couldn't go anywhere by herself, even at 16-17. If we went to the mall, her mother would follow us around, saying just pretend I'm your girlfriend. Same with movies. On the rare night Sarah was allowed to sleep over, her mother would personally visit around 10-11 p.m. to check on her. Her mother also had access to all her passwords, from MSN to Hotmail to some sort of dual phone, where her mother would also receive Sarah's incoming cell phone calls. When you phoned Sarah, her mother would listen on the other line. They also found any and all reasons to ground her, so she wasn't allowed to leave the house. Like, she was supposed to clean the kitchen every day from age 10, from washing dishes after their meals to mopping the floor. Once she accidentally left a fork in the washing machine and was grounded for 2 weeks. Sarah ended up drinking heavily during high school, went to university 6 hours away and has yet to come back. I wish her all the best. I work in HR at a large telecommunications company. We usually sit in the conference room and can hear the interview candidates while they are waiting in the lobby. This poor guy was probably 19 or 20 and his mother wanted to go into the interview with him. We actually had to ask her to wait outside the lobby, because even after being asked to sit down she said it was her right to be in there. WTF. Guy didn't end up getting the job, and she later called and asked where she could send an appeal letter. Wish I had saved that letter. It was intense. That poor guy. No one is going to hire him if his mom keeps pulling that crap. I made a really great friend in high school. He and I were as thick as thieves. Early on in the friendship, my parents took us to a movie. I don't remember the movie, but the start of it got delayed by technical difficulties by about 20 minutes. My parents called from their cell to let my friend's mother know, but only got the voicemail. Thinking that would suffice, we all proceeded to have a good time. Fast forward to the end of the movie, my mom turns her cell phone on and discovers her voicemail box is suddenly full. 20 I believe was her limit. All of them were my friend's mother calling pleading for us to return her son, and she would pay any amount we demanded, and that if we called back soon she wouldn't go to the police. She literally had thought we kidnapped him. Suffice to say, when we got him home only 20 minutes later than planned, the conversation was rather awkward. There was a girl in my 5th grade class whose mother would take an hour out of her day to come supervise recess. Every 5 minutes, she'd blow a whistle and go, "Emmy, it's time for your shade break," and, just like clockwork, Emmy would have to go sit in the shade for 5 minutes. This crap got really annoying when we would play team sports. No one wanted Emmy on their team. Saw a kid, must have been 12 or 13, yelling at his mom in public about how he can wipe his own ass and didn't need her help with that anymore. Her response, "But you can't see it, how do you know it's really clean?" I felt so bad for that kid. I wonder who that lady gets to wipe her own ass. Went to a play group for children with special needs involved with infant development. Talked to a mom after I noticed that she wouldn't let her son off the mat he was playing on. Chit-chatting, all the while she was stopping her kid from going off the mat. When I said something along the lines of, "Wow, your son really wants off that mat," she replied deadpan with, "Well, he was a preemie, so I got to protect him from the world. My daughter is blind, has albinism and nystagmus." She was rolling, yelping and climbing up everything like a spider monkey. Ugh. When I worked at a coffee shop, a mother, with the most helium-like whiny freaking voice imaginable, came and ordered a 7-step customized drink, and threw a fit when we just asked her to repeat it. "Oh no, am I the bad guy? I'm sorry, I thought you'd be able to speak English." Then she goes, in the same whiny begging voice, "Can my son have a job?" I hand her a job application. He already sent one in. "Can you just hire him? Hey, I don't want whipped cream on that, so can he have a job?" I tell her if he's sent in an application, he'll get a call when the manager looks through the stack. We had like 20 applications at any given point, so he's just going to be one in the pile. Yeah, that's not gonna work. He's a great kid, just freaking hire him. Just to get rid of her, I write down her son's name and say I'll look into it. I hand her her drink, and she leaves. My manager, who heard her screeching voice from the back room, immediately calls me over to see that kid's name. He digs through the pile of applications and immediately shreds the kid's application. His only words, "If we hire him, his mother's going to be here all the time." I once interviewed someone for an entry-level job. The next day I got a follow-up call from his mother. This kid had not made the cut. He didn't interview confidently and didn't enunciate very well. Not good for a call center job. But I hadn't passed that on to HR yet. I told this woman a little white lie though. I informed her that he had been in the running, but since he can't be counted on to do his own follow-up, he's clearly not the kind of employee I want. Had a helicopter mom who became one of the middle school's lunch monitors in order to help her kid make more friends. She would carry around candy and would only give it out to people that were friends of her child, literally denying others if she didn't know them. Ah yes, bribery to make friends. That's surely a good way to show your kids. You haven't seen anything until you've seen helicopter hockey parents. They don't only hover over their kids, they encourage horrible sportsmanship. A few years ago when my goalie brother was playing squirt AA, so about age 9 to 10, the opposing team equipped themselves with the age-old strategy of run the goalie. The coaches were in on this. The parents cheered bloodthirstily whenever these little jackasses rammed into my brother, and they kept this up more than they attempted to score. My brother had had enough. Poor kid snapped and walloped the next boy who skidded into his crease, the net area, which was totally justifiable by that point. This redneck looking woman and her husband immediately got up, started screeching about their poor precious Joey and get that goalie out of there. Ref eventually their whole cheering system was on their feet and yelling out obscene crap about taking my brother out. To 10-year-olds, they all got escorted out by security. You cannot make this crap up. In high school I had a friend with a super helicopter mom. He couldn't go anywhere without his mom, so she would just sit in her van outside of his friends' houses. Seriously, eventually he started rebelling and drinking. He got drunk, went in the back of a pickup truck being driven by a drunk driver, and the truck crashed. He's dead, and I honestly feel that if his mom wasn't so overprotective he wouldn't have done stupid crap that ended up killing him. We decided to teach the Hunger Games in English last year. I had a few parents raise concerns because they had heard a few rumors, but it was nothing a quick conference and a little reassuring couldn't fix, until Mrs. Bickerstaff happened. Now, Mrs. Bickerstaff had an inflated sense of self-importance to begin with, a housewife who, with complete seriousness, Signs her emails Mrs. Nalanda Charlene Bickerstaff, ESQ. Type of self-important. She not only pitched the bitchiest of B-fits about not allowing her son to read it, we offered an alternative to kids whose parents put their foot down and said no, but embarked on a 6-month campaign to get the school shut down unless we pull the book from curriculum for everyone. She disenrolled her son, threatened to sue us for the cost of sending him to an expensive private school, and called every parent in the school to try to get them to do the same. When she didn't have any success with that, she went to the local news and told them what was going on. What resulted was a flattering news story that reported our high test scores and innovative approach to learning. We're a charter school. I should mention that she didn't read the book. Alrighty, I have a few. I worked at Whole Foods, and that is ground zero for lunatic parents. There was the nutritionist and her mom that didn't want anything scanned because of the radiation. One lady was going on and on about how her son was corn-free, egg-free, dairy-free, and soy-free because that's what her chiropractor told her to do. I wanted to apologize to that kid so bad. When I worked at a cooking store, like Williams-Sonoma, I had a lady come in with her tween-age kids trying to find glass baking dishes because metal is bad for you. I suggested silicone, and she said that was worse, so I suggested parchment paper, but she already used that. I had a hard time holding back the massive smile when I told her that parchment has silicone in it. Every time she would go off on something, her kids would just roll their eyes. It's so frustrating because it makes the parents with children who actually are allergic to metal look like total loons. Work at a college. One mother rewrote a course syllabus so it would better suit her daughter's learning needs and sent it to the faculty member. Didn't see it personally, but a few years ago there was an article in my local newspaper about a mother cleaning the vegetables she was cooking for her family in bleach. Didn't realize she was doing anything wrong until one of her children nearly died. What I don't get here is that mom was perfectly happy with other children getting killed by the supposedly lethal radiation. Surely if she was so confident it was toxic she would have nobly saved the whole class by getting them out of there. But I guess she believes Wi-Fi is toxic, so logic should not be expected. Overprotective parents are usually incredibly selfish. I was not allowed to walk to school by myself even though it was literally 1 block away from my house because my mom said I would get assaulted. I was in junior high. I was never allowed to be unattended and was not allowed to go to friends' houses because my parents did not trust other parents. This extended all the way through high school until I started acting out and they sent me to a lockdown mental health treatment facility. My childhood was painfully lonely, to say the least. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love my mom for not being bat crap insane. I was volunteering for this thing 2 years ago where we help freshmen haul their crap, mostly tampons and televisions, into the dorms. One mom came at the end of the day and flipped her crap because her daughter's roommates already divided up the space. She was the last to get there, and, oh yes, because her daughter didn't get the dorm with the swimming pool. Yes. Her daughter had to change dorms because it was too dang hard to walk to the 2 buildings in a 50-foot radius to use the swimming pool. Her daughter was really chill, though. Let's hope she stays that way. You have been visited by the Frosty Dogger. A cool summer will come to you only if you comment stay cool, Frosty Dogger. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.